All righty, guys. Sorry, everybody. You can see my RV. Deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. Super excited here. We've got Chase Tolleson, but more importantly, Corey, Daddy Corey, is off, so I'm taking the reins of this show. You might have seen me a couple times, guys. Honored to be here. Jimmy just got out of surgery this morning in Japan. He separated his shoulder. So we got Uncle Jimmy and we got Corey on the sidelines. So here we are, man. So Chase, tell everybody, who you are, where you live, what you do, that kind of stuff, and we'll get rolling.
Yeah, my name's Chase Tolleson, and I live in Illinois, a little northwest of Chicago. I've been was in the fitness industry for over a decade now, helping guys completely up level via lifestyle, mindset, identity creation. And Mr. Linney here has tagged me as the mystical giant. So that's me. I'm the mystical giant.
I love it. And, just so everybody gets context, what do you do mainly for your clients? Because it's not just fitness, it's so many other things.
It's so many other things. It looks like fitness on the outside. And once you come in on your first call with me, you'll likely say something like, wow, this is so much more than I thought it was going to be. Because what we do is we knock out the old pieces of you that were keeping you from moving forward. And we allow you space to create the new identity that will take you wherever you so please.
I love it. Yeah, and guys, you know me. You see me on the show a couple times. I'm playing around with all the banners. We're just gonna have a good time today. But I think what's super important, TC, nice to have you here, buddy. I think what's super important, guys, is this NFT space. Like, from your understanding, and we'll get into why we're doing it for you. Like, what do you know about it? If you had to put your kind of Chase spin on it.
Oh man, this is one of those things that I know there's so much that it has been almost daunting for me to dive into. And I know that there's, the JPEGs, and then I know that there's, smart contracts that we could do. I know that artists have sold albums as NFTs, and essentially what it means is, as far as I understand it, that we can own a thing and that's ours, and that there's this digital signature, and that it's yours in the metaverse or the online world. And that is the depth of my understanding so far.
So I was talking to a guy the other day, very smart guy, does some things for Google, and he's deep in this place. And I think the thing that everybody's missing, that I really hope they understand, is it's about the smart contracts. Okay, so in the lamest terms, for me as a real estate investor, basically it's a functional contract of keeping track of a contract through the blockchain that people can't scam or be fucked with or all that stuff like that. And so if that's the case, then I think NFT is so much greater than that. It's a utilitarian version of it, but there's so much more. And I think what's super exciting for me is it all comes down to one thing. And I realized it being in the space for 2 days. It's community. It's community. And if you really dig in, if you really, 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 really dig in to deep, so Web3, right? So I'll walk you through my understanding, guys. I apologize to anybody that's listening that's going to call me out or send me a text message, but
Yeah,
basically,
I would love to learn more via Austin being corrected.
Basically, you have Web2, which was Amazon, Netflix, Uber, the big companies, right? They're controlling the interest. Boom, blah blah blah. Okay. Web3 and crypto and meta and all this stuff and NFTs is giving the power back to the consumer. And so if you talk to high level business guys, this guy that has 6 businesses that I follow, the funnel used to be like this, and now the funnel needs to be like this, and then right in the middle it needs to get smaller. And what he's saying is, if you're instead of going to build the product first and then selling it, now we have to build the community first, and then the community will support the product. And that's the shift.
I like that. That's a completely new lens on it for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
And so if that's being said, then what you're doing is you're taking a business idea, right? A business idea, and you're allowing everybody to join in on it. And you're allowing everybody to kind of get into it. And that's what makes me so excited, because on the back of these projects, right? There's a million projects out there, NFTs, apes, and fucking bullshit and all this shit. Every project that I'm a part of is going to have one thing to it that others don't. A lot of them don't. And that's education. I don't want you to invest with me. I want to teach you how to invest along with investing with us. And that right there is how you create a community that have the ripple effects for the end of time.
so you're looking at this as creating true impact and true community, as opposed to, flipping an NFT or buying a piece of property in the metaverse, building something that has lasting impact.
Exactly. And I'll show you how. Okay. And guys, I don't
Please.
have all the details. So, but long story short, we're building a company. I'm building some with Corey, but we're building a company on the side too. That's going to be, it's on 100-year time horizon, maybe longer. That's how much I view this company. And so what we decided to do, because Alex Hormozy said the number one thing that he wished he would have done when he was starting was document everything. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start a podcast. We're going to do all the things. We're going to be as transparent. We're going to even bring you into some of our meetings. And every 6 months, we're going to write a book about what we learned. And then we're going to release another book and another, and we're going to give it all away. But it's going to be an NFT project, and only the people holding the NFTs can get the knowledge to go build a company.
Ooh.
Then we're going to use the proceeds from that to go fund inner city schools and underprivileged kids.
My man has it all figured out. And talk about building community first. Like, boom, you have this laid out already.
Well,
So
what's interesting? What's interesting? A guy that I really respect that's going to invest in the company. I was telling him my big why, and I can tell you it too, right? And he goes, I've never met somebody that has his vision so fucking clear on exactly what's going to happen. And he goes, that's the difference between you and most people. He asked me what my why was, right? And I'll walk you through it. And we should have done it on my podcast. He said, what's your big thing? What do you want to do? I said, I want to be 75 years old. I want to have just woken up in the morning and gone for a walk. And I want to have pulled some vegetables out of my garden in my villa. And I want to have cooked eggs and made coffee for my Airbnb guests. Yeah, you heard me. Multi-millionaire, but cooking for the guests that are staying in our Airbnb because I just love it. After that, I'm going to walk down the market to go get my food with my fiance for the day. And I'm going to be walking down the street. I'm going to be 78 years old. And somebody across the street is going to yell out, that's motherfucking Austin Linney. And he runs up to me. And I go, hey, man, I really appreciate that, but I don't know who you are. And he goes, you don't know me, but you coach so-and-so, and he changed my life.
Boom. And you didn't lay that out specifically, and we talked about that in your podcast. And that's that ripple effect. So this is really cool how you're laying this out to create the ripple effect within the NFT space, because some of my exposure so far has been, social media. You have these, I'm 33, and even I will call some of the guys more knowledgeable in the NFT space kids. You have these kids out there talking about how much money they're making, flipping these things and doing this. And when you start digging into the utility behind it and the impact that you can create, it's mind-blowing to me.
100%. And I apologize, guys. We have an opportunity to snag on a killer property, and I'm trying to negotiate with the 3 different people, one in Texas, so yes, real estate doesn't stop. But we make a decision every day, right? And TC is a prime example, who's on here, who's one of the best humans I've ever met, and Mello and all these people I met, and Jimmy and Corey. We have an opportunity to be something more than just rich. And when you realize that the utilitarian of money means nothing, And my issue is greater than this, is that everybody's dying on their sword of creativity and saying, I know, but that's the man has the money and all this shit like that. But you want to know how you create fucking real impact? You create jobs. You create enough money in your businesses so you can give back. You build schools. You create curriculum, right? Like, this is where the central banks, this is where the conglomerates get freaked out because the people have the power.
Well, and here's where it is too. We talked about this on your podcast. People get scared of that big shift and that big change. So how do we avoid that change? Well, we project onto that big money that it's a bad thing. Instead of recognizing that we're too scared to make that shift and that it scares us that we might actually have a paradigm shift in our life that requires us to step into being a more powerful human being, we just say, nah, man, those guys have money. They're not about being good people.
So how does one, from your perspective as a coach, how does one start to change the perspective?
Right. Write it down. Look at your perspective first. And newsflash, your perspective may be a little skewed even looking at yourself first. Because we'll use a Chase quote here. A lot of people go out into the world to find themselves when others go into themselves to find the world. And diving into yourself first and asking, why do I think money's evil? What created a fear around this paradigm shift for me? And getting those stories on paper and digging all the way back and seeing what little bullshit is at the root of that. And then go from there.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to, and I know you're still my mule, you're still like looking over it like this is going to be a loaded question.
Let's go.
What's your definition of a mystical giant?
I mean, right here on screen, live and in person. Definition of a mystical giant. Think about it this way. A mystical giant is not a soul within a body. A mystical giant is a body within a soul. You have what appears to the world, and you have a mass amount of mystical energy at your disposal. And you are so aligned with your stories, practically aligned with your stories that run through your head, that your intuition and your inner guidance takes the correct step everywhere you go. And even if on the surface it looks like a misstep, it was still a lesson that took you to where you want to go.
So that it truly is. You're always learning, you're gaining, you're not losing.
Exactly. That's a lens, man. Losing.
Yeah.
You're just starting over at the top.
100%. And so, I think what excites me the most about the community and Corey and all these things and Jimmy and uplifters and all this stuff is like, there's no throttle. I love it. Like it's quintessential, like my mission, like all gas, no brakes, because they're saying, you know what, I might not have the answer, but we get enough collective, amazing people together, right? If I could say anything about this movement, the collaboration is what I love the most. It's not an attack of business anymore. It's how do we add value to each other? And with that, anything is possible.
And that's mystical giant type stuff. It's this, well, I know this is going to work out and I'm going to take this next step because this is, I'll create it so it'll work out.
Mm-hmm. So awesome. What questions, and I'm not the most qualified person, but I know enough to be dangerous. What questions do you have from a newbie that's getting into this space and kind of understanding what, like if you had to kind of like download a bunch of stuff?
What is the utility of a DAO?
Okay. TC, help me. No, but basically, think of it this way. From my understanding, it's basically a entity that can either do business or invest in things with a community approach, where you get voting rights to make decision on projects.
Okay.
So like the main owner owns the portion, but some of the projects or the direction of the company can be asked in a community, and then the overall decision will move it forward. If TC, if you're still watching, is that about right? But that's kind of my understanding. And then the barrier to entry is lower. You can go global. You don't have to have a ton of money. It costs about $3,000 to get one started. So now the problem is a lot of people are using this to launder money.
And that's where the attempts for regulation come in.
Correct. Yeah. TC agrees with me. So I did get it right. Yes. Thank goodness.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
But yes, that's basically the thing. All right. What other question? I'm really good. I was sweating that one. So that was good. Yeah.
So more, I'd imagine it's more surface level question, talk about NFTs and layman's terms, people think pictures and like maybe albums, but what else? Like, how does an NFT? Yeah, break it down on what's the deeper level
the
there.
The way that we're positioning one of the clients that we're working with, who's a former baseball player, is how would you love? And I'm going to walk you through the scenario. He's amazing, 3-time All-Star, still on TV. Like, he's a big dude. People know who he is. So we'll release a pack. We'll drop a pack of like his career best home run, right? And in that pack of 1,000, there'll be 2 cards in there that are selected that you could get on a random drop. Okay. And within those cards, if you hold that NFT, Sean, I can't say his name, but he will come out, or he'll go on Zoom and give your child one-on-one batting lessons.
That's cool. So you add value to these things that have their own significant signature.
Correct. And then
like,
where it gets crazy is the secondary market, because that said NFT can exchange hands over and over again, and the value of what it means to somebody will go up and up and up. And so I'll walk you through a scenario. There's a company that sold a bunch of NFTs, so they got the money up front, and now they're opening up clubs all around the world, that only if you have the NFT can you go to the club.
And now that we're talking about this, Gary V with his V friends.
Yeah, you know how much he made?
How much?
90 million.
And some of those V friends are maybe they had tickets to his convention.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you could once again, baseball tickets could be NFTs.
Exactly. And so what we're going to do with ours, because we have a dev studio, see, TC loves it. B&B NFTs. Yeah. So where I think the fun is going to be, because we have a studio where we're providing done for you NFTs for people that Corey and I are doing with his team. We've already signed 5 clients. I'm one of them. I'm very excited. We're going to hold a whitelist NFT that if you have it, then we're going to hold a weekend mastermind event at one of my Airbnbs. And can you imagine the different walks of life that are going to be there? And you get to learn from all these amazing business people and be in that room because you spent $10 on an NFT and hit the lottery.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's massive. And
so when Clubhouse was a thing, right? It's not a thing. People are still on it apparently, but for like a month, like I literally didn't have
Flash
a life.
In the pan.
Like I know, but I didn't have a life. I was on like 17 sessions a day. Like it was crazy. But here's what happened. And it just happened again yesterday. There was a kid on there, 21 years old, engineer from South Texas. Are you ready for this? I joined a room. 2 people joined me. Nobody knew who they were. The one guy had sold $1.8 billion of multifamily. The other guy had flipped 5,000 houses. And he sees my name. He comes in the room for free. And for 45 minutes, they gave this kid advice. He was the only 4 people in the room. He has since bought his 4th house last week.
So then you create NFTs where you have the opportunity to end up in a room with those kind of people.
Correct. And
yeah, I mean,
and
from
so
my end of it,
go ahead.
If I had a collection, like, hey guys, you could get, a coaching session or a coaching package or this or that with a random NFT.
And I think what's going to be fun and what I'm going to play around with is like, you can do a blended NFT. So you could have an NFT that's like the mystical giant Chase, and I could have one that's Austin the fighter, right?
Yeah.
And we could do a drop, and that can blend that. And then if somebody gets that, then they get a coaching session from both you and I.
Sign me up. Let's go.
And so, see, it's just one of those things where you're creating kind of a win-win for everybody. It's something for you, but I think the thing that's interesting, right, is because what we talked about in the beginning, the smart contract, right? Every time that thing is traded for the rest of its life, you make money. And so think about this. You might be in your will, instead of leaving cash, you just leave smart contracts now.
Ooh, talk about a paradigm shift. I mean,
correct.
So you're putting, so like on that note, the guys that made like Bored Ape or the other ones that went big, like they have massive passive income just rolling in off of these high ticket NFTs. Secondary is key.
The secondary market is where the money is made.
Yeah, because you don't make it off of just getting them out there once. It's when they grow and get flipped.
And so, TC, how do you think somebody creates demand on the secondary market? Is it just providing a great community or providing value as much as possible? What do you see as the way to go about doing that the best?
Is there a degree of chance to it?
I believe so, and I might be speaking out of turn, but I think so. And so, at the end of the day, what's interesting, right, is I think what excites me the most is just allowing opportunities for people that maybe didn't have them. I think is like what I think is kind of fun. And I think, my philosophy is,
that's why my Instagram inbox gets blown up with people trying to give away NFTs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, there it is, buddy. Boom.
Austin's been on it since the beginning. Love it.
Correct. I clocked it. Yeah. When I went with that. So this all goes back to what we do for people on a day-to-day basis, right? And here's a question. This is fun. I'm a client, and I say this response to you, but I'm not good enough to deserve to grow a community.
Well, I might even take a different try. Is that true?
I mean, it's what people told me.
Can you absolutely know that it's true?
Well, not really.
Who would you be without that belief?
A titan.
Cool. How do we crush that belief?
Write it down.
Exactly. And then we start flipping the words. We go Byron Katie on them with her questions. And then we write it down.
Correct. And so my thesis is very simple. I take very complex things, and I think one of my special powers is like condensing them down to something that somebody can consume.
Well, that's the mark of a true professional.
Well, and so my thesis was this. There's too many smart people that I know that are doing this. Figure it out and jump in.
Or jump in and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in deep waters, baby. The heads are spinning. I'm talking to people from Google. Yeah, shit's getting weird. Like, you know, but I think there's a nuance to figuring it out. Meaning that like there's prime example. I'll use a different business altogether just to explain to you how important it is. My CEO, who you know because you coach him too,
Yep.
Jay, he asked me a simple question. Why the hell would you make me CEO of an Airbnb company when I don't know anything and I haven't done my first Airbnb? And I said, you can teach skill, you can't teach loyalty.
Mm. And so, and he and I had a conversation around this, around being able to step into that. And if you have the skill to learn the skills, then you have all the skill you need. If you have the
And
ability to learn
yeah,
what will take you there.
correct. And so if that's the case, right, then, you know, what people don't look at, right, that's somebody in his position and mine who's been in the game 7 years in Airbnb. I need you to run the company.
Cool. How do I get my own
Yeah.
collection?
Oh, it's happening, buddy. As soon as Corey gets done with the conference. So I've been 7 years in the game, right, of Airbnb. So I can't logically set up a company to scale because I'm too jaded. I need fresh eyes because there's things that I tell everybody this. This is the new way I think of everything as entrepreneurship. It's not what you can do because you can fucking do anything. It's what you shouldn't do. That's the key to everything. And I shouldn't clean toilets anymore. And so I can't look at a business objectively because I'll turn down 50 contracts a day for people asking me. And he's like, I'll take those contracts. I need that. Yeah.
If you want something, and there's a book titled with this title, if you want something done right, you don't need to do it yourself. Yeah.
So
that's just it. Delegate.
And I love it. And we're so powerful on words. I want to share this because it's so impactful for me and my shift for anybody that's listening. It's my favorite book. Programming creates belief. Belief creates attitude. Attitudes create feelings. Feelings determine actions. And action creates results. This is how the brain works. If you manage yourself in a better way, you change your results, and you can do at any time you choose. Start with the first step. Change your programming.
And that's a circle too, because those results then shape your identity, which reprograms your programming. And that, my friends, is how we go through multiple iterations of the hero's journey.
There it is, baby.
Boom.
And so the question is like, this is the bigger thing as an entrepreneur. And this is something very important for everybody in the crypto NFT space. Just because you can make money on something doesn't mean it has to. It could be the thing that you do that gives you energy to make money in the thing that you need to do to live. So like I have clients that their favorite thing in the entire world is to go fishing and golfing. Right? These are high-powered dudes that make 3 or 4 million a year. You know the last time they did that? Like fucking 4 years ago. And so at the end of the call, he's like, hey, what's the action items for this week? You know, he's expecting me to say, like, crush this contract, everything. Doctor's orders. You have to golf twice this week. Really? Yes. And they do it. And on Sunday, they'll text me and, like, I've never been this happy ever.
Boom. And then how much more productive was their next week?
Yeah.
That's massive right there. You know, and I tried doing the thing that I really love doing for a career for a few years, and now we're creating more impact doing another thing. So
I love it. And so as you traverse down this rabbit hole and get into it, I just came up with an idea. I think you have to have 2 NFT lines. One is the mystical giant, and then one is the workout one for like workouts and stuff. But hear me out. You can tell the story of a mystical giant that's weak and bad net thoughts, and then you can, over the next year and a half, 2 years, you can use your workout NFTs and your coaching and create stories around pouring good into him and letting him hit the weights and seeing the improvement, and they can follow along with the story of Bob, who steps into his mystical giant power.
Well, that's just it, because your mystical giant is awaiting. And that's why my coaching will always, always, always have a core pillar of wellness and fitness. Because until you get this meat suit dialed in enough, your mystical giant will not be able to flow through it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm excited because we talked to Jimmy and Corey this week, and so I can just announce it here. We have no name for it. We don't know what it's going to be. We have no idea, but I'm going to have my own show that I'll do weekly inside of Uplifters. I'm honored. I'm excited. And Chase will be on a guest a lot of the time. And we just want to provide some perspective and some advice on mindset stuff to kind of allow you to overcome your obstacles and stuff. And you know, we have an opportunity, right, where we can do whatever we want. And we just want to give people that power. I'm just fucking like, I look at like my clients and I look at the people I'm in business with, and I'm just like, they're just like the best people ever. Like, and it's, everybody's so driven and excited. And, you know, we're like Uplifters, we've got big plans. I'm helping them. Chase is coming in to help them. We got Conrad's going to help them. We got big plans for the team. We got other things we're working on. We're working on a real estate DAO. There's just so much great stuff right now. And I don't think people take enough time to sit back and realize how lucky they are and how great the opportunities that are available for us. And we really just got to take a minute and just be so fucking grateful that we have the opportunity to do what we do.
And Austin, you talk about shifts in your clients, and dude, you experienced a shift in the last year. That letting go of a story and an identity completely, and look at the hockey stick you're creating personally now. You know, like, and I've been there too. Like, we come into this because we've been there, and we know how extremely valuable it is to, like, okay, yeah, the old me tries to fight against the new me, and the more that I can find out how to drop the old me back there and lean into the new me, the quicker that we grow.
Yeah, correct. And you're taking an opportunity to honestly just create whatever it is that you want, right? And so, with that being said, you know, we have an opportunity to create whatever power, and then that project, like, let's say whatever we decide for your mystical giant might morph into mystical giant like 3.0, right? 4.0. But what's interesting is nobody wants to do the 2.0.
No.
They think the thing that they created, no, it's always about leveling up and getting to the next thing.
Always. Yeah, and you don't know what the next thing is until you reach that first peak.
Correct.
You know, it's like the first time I was on a ski lift in Colorado, and I thought that that was the top, and then I go over that, and like, oh, I thought that was the top, and I go over that, and it's like, dude, you'll find your peak sometime, and then when you get to that peak, you're going to see a taller one in the distance. And you know what you got to do? You got to go into a valley to get down to that next taller peak, and it's all worth it, because the view from that higher peak is so much better.
Correct. And so, do you have any other questions about DAOs, NFTs, Meta?
Not off the top of my head. I'm white belt mentality, so to speak.
Correct.
I think
yeah, if I could, like, I think one of the things that's the most intriguing is the real estate portion of this. It's the real estate portion, because if you look at the real estate landscape, it's antiquated, right? Like, Zoom closings just finally happened. So, like, I'm more intrigued about the utilitarian, like here's what I get excited about: when you can buy businesses on the blockchain.
So, and now that you say that, I have all kinds of questions. How does how do we use the blockchain to buy real estate? How do we use the blockchain to buy businesses? How does that start coming into play?
Man, yeah, that's going to get interesting, right? And they're still trying to figure it out. Like what the guy from Google was mentioning yesterday, is he said shit's going to get real. He's like, like perfect example. I'm traveling the country right now. I lost my debit card. We don't have an address. Like and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to pay for anything? Well, now I just click my phone and it's like, boom, I got gas. And he said, when shit's going to get weird is when your Coinbase or crypto account is attached to your phone. That's when it's going to be like, oh, I just paid with Ethereum for this gas. Like, and that's already like happening in some places, and the guy's paying his mortgage with Bitcoin and rerouting it. So when we finally figure out how to get all these things, you're basically going to be able to execute a transaction within like a second.
Yeah.
So and then the blockchain is the record of it.
Yeah. So instead of signing a DocuSign online, you have the blockchain that ties you to your real estate.
Yes. And that's where it'll live with the smart contract. But here's where, okay. Can I share that? I'm trying to think if I could share that from his meeting. but here, I'll use what I'm thinking. I'll use what we're thinking about, because this is where I'm at. There's 1 million people. I know them, 46, 65, 75. Like, they have Airbnbs. They've grinded. They got tons of money. They've refied when they can. They've done all that. But they're stuck. They can't pull their chips off the table. They're whatever. So what if I had the real estate DAO that had 3 million in crypto in my account to go invest in real estate, and I came to you and you had 65 Airbnbs, and say, I want 50% of it. I've got the money. We're going to buy you out 50% of all your properties underneath your contracts on the blockchain. And then he's going to take the 3 million and go buy more real estate. So you're recapturing the debt that you're using, letting him go out and do it. And I think a rinse and repeat. This is where I'm kind of like working on with my mind. And
now, the smart contracts in the blockchain are based off of a certain cryptocurrency, usually. Yes, whether it's on Ethereum or Solana or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't want to speak wrong, but yes, I think something like that.
Yeah, and I'm coming at this as somebody who, this is not my concern, and because fiat is tanking quickly, and for someone who's like, well, fiat currency is what the standard is, and this stuff's more volatile. Why would I use this to buy real estate when it could be worth much less? Or why would I take this from someone for my real estate when it could tank by 50% next month? And where do we go from there?
That's where it gets tricky. That's where I think it's interesting, right? And like, let's say you're negotiating a business, right? Which this might be something that's happening behind doors, but we'll keep it to myself. And the value of what you hold as currency is down. It doesn't, you don't have a lot of leverage. Well, what if the paradigm switches and your shit's way up in that moment? So that's where it gets a little tricky, but that's where people, sit and put it in their wallet and can pull it into cash and all that kind of stuff. So, I think one of my buddies who does a lot of crypto and Amazon store stuff said something on my podcast that was really amazing. He has a rule, and I think more people should have rules about life. He does not trade or make any movement of money from his cell phone. He has to be in front of his computer in order to execute the trade, because he doesn't want to make emotional decisions.
Man, and that's how Robinhood got such a big market share. So they had an easy to use trading app.
Mm-hmm. Why? Here's the deal. I don't actually know the utilitarian execution of Android, but I'll never use it because Apple has made my experience so easy. I got my phone, I got my Mac, I got my earbuds, I got my iPad. they didn't win on their technology or what it looks like. They won because it's fucking easy to use, and it goes in each other.
I could copy something on my phone and paste it on my computer, or vice versa. I can make something in Canva and airdrop it to my phone to post on Instagram.
Correct.
It's
And so my biggest concern, and this is where I pull apart any business. There's amazing programmers, and there's amazing algorithm builders, and there's amazing doing all that stuff. I've seen 70 million of them. I consulted on a couple. And you know what? None of those things have any semblance of direction or focus for the customer experience. And I'm like, I have nothing to sell here, guys. It's ugly. It's clunky. It doesn't work right. Well, I know, but the technology is amazing. No. Apple didn't get the technology right. They got the user experience right.
Yeah. A few of my techie friends are like, well, Android's such a better technology. Yeah, make it easy and millions will come. Damn straight.
Well, I look, and look, all these guys that are in this group, they yell at me for using Coinbase because it's like the evil one. But Coinbase is so fucking easy to use. I don't want to use anything else. And when I get on something, I just like, hey, it's fine, you know?
Yeah, like a couple of coins I own on KuCoin.
Like, I fucking hate Wells Fargo. I hate Wells Fargo, but I've been with them since I was 17. And I travel the world, and they make it easy. And so I just created 2 online accounts, and we're going to give them a shot. But they sure as fuck better make it easy for me to get money and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that. I bank with Chase Bank, and if there was another bank that made it as easy, I would jump because JP Morgan started the Federal Reserve, and I got a bone to pick with him. Yeah.
So if that's the case, then one of the glaring principles of my businesses moving forward is to take 4 to 6 people and have them on a monthly basis run through the customer experience of every one of my businesses and my coaching here's what's crazy about coaching. I know the number one hole in my game right now is not my coaching. It's how I onboard my clients.
So how can you?
No, it's already being worked on right now. It's already being worked on. But what I'm saying is, so as a business owner, that's going to be the number one thing that and how you leave them, how they leave you too.
Yeah, that's a big one. Well, and what you're talking about here is like going and staying in your own Airbnb before you ever start running it.
Correct. That nobody does, right? Nobody does that. And here's what's crazy. I walk through an Airbnb for 30 minutes. It's great. I sit down on the couch and watch TV or take a shower. I see about 17 different things.
Yeah.
And so my question to everybody is, when's the last time you experienced your business? Not ran it, experienced it. And here's what's fucked up. This is my new gauge on I know if coaching is working. I paid a guy the other day to coach me for 1 session because I needed him to be a coach, and I was like, I need, an outside source. And about 30 minutes in, I was so upset with him. I was like, how dare you ask these questions? And I was like, damn, this guy's a good coach. Because I was experiencing my business that I do on other people for the first time in a long time. And so now I put myself in a position to have a little compassion for my clients when I ask the tough questions.
Boom. Right there.
Gold.
Customer experience. Experiencing it for yourself and turning it back on, refining it, and then giving your people a better product.
I love it. Well, we're going to get out of here. Corey and Jimmy, thank you so much for letting me take the reins. You're going to see more of me, guys. I'm super excited. Y'all have a great day today networking. Jimmy, I hope you get better soon, buddy. We need you back out here. Chase, if people want to find out about you, how would they do that?
Instagram at coach_Chase_Tolleson, spelled just like it is on the screen, and chasetolleson.com.
I love it. Guys, we'll see you later.